Today's podcast is brought to you by Inverted Gear. For all your jiu-jitsu needs, go to invertedgear.com. Save 15% off if you type in the coupon code ShowTheArt15 with no spaces. Our next sponsor is KIMERA Coffee. That's KIMERA Coffee with a K. They are a coffee brand that infuse their coffee with nootropics. If you don't know what nootropics are, Google it. They can do a much better job at explaining it than I can. Go to KIMERAcoffee.com, type in the coupon code ShowTheArt for a nice little discount. Enjoy. Ted, welcome to the Show the Art podcast. You are one of the partners slash co-founders slash brains of the operation at KIMERA Coffee. How are you, man?
I'm good. Happy to be on the show.
Hey, man, how is Dominican Republic?
This time of year, It's hot and humid, and you shower, you get out of the shower, you're sweating. I mean, it's beautiful. If I show you pictures and you see my Instagram, you'll see like beautiful images of DR.
Yeah.
But just like add some humidity in there and some heat. You'll see. I hear you're coming down, so you'll see.
For some reason, I thought it would be blistering cold, but oh well.
Okay. It's funny. We get asked all the time, like, oh, how is the winters? It's like, this is summer all the time. Winter is basically just a breeze. We get a breeze.
Yeah, I'll be there in like 4 weeks, so it's going to be really hot and humid.
Lucky him.
Yeah, but you're going to be in the coast, right? So It's not going to be a problem. And you're going to be in the pool and in the beach all day, so...
And doing fun adventures, which you will recommend to
me. Pina colada, stuff like that. You're going to a really cool place.
Excellent. How far are you from like the Punta Canas and all the family resorts?
There's a really big one, Casa de Campo. It's like we get a lot of celebrities there, and I'm probably like an hour and a half from there, and then Punta Cana is probably another 40 minutes. But it's good highways, and in the North Coast it's more like 3 hours away, the North Coast. So.
Damn. And that's where your KIMERA coffee beans are picked?
The KIMERA coffee beans are actually like 2 hours and a half from the city. It's a mountain range that crosses right across the island. So it's a drive away. We go there all the time.
So when I come, will I be able to visit these mountains and get a little tour?
You could. It's longer because you're actually 2 hours away, and then it's 2 hours in the other direction. So it's not that close to you.
So like 4 hours?
Yeah, probably 5 hours.
What the?
Because the roads up to the mountains aren't that good.
Oh my God.
But we can plan it. We can definitely plan it.
Listen, man, if it's like a whole day thing...
It's like a 2-day thing, probably.
Oh, it's like a 2-day thing. Oh, snap. Yeah. So it would be like come to your place, relax for a day.
My place, yeah.
And then the next day we would go on an adventure.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Man, all right.
There's a bunch of adventures here, so yeah.
That's what I'm all about, adventures. And what kind of mountains are these in relation to like what we're used to seeing? Is it like a big jungle, or how should people envision where coffee beans are picked? Well, so it's actually the cherry, right?
Yeah, it's the cherry. So it's mostly like a tropical jungle. It's not rainforesty. It's more like a luscious forest. But where the actual coffee beans are picked, it's actually you'll see. I think I have some pictures on our website. You can see the pictures, and it's plains. And every certain area they have shade, so they need to be shaded by avocado trees. Each farmer has their own technique. So it's the coffee bean is similar to wine. You won't taste the difference that much, but the wind, the shade that bean gets during the year is what's going to determine the flavor. So every year is different.
And I hear that elevation and shade makes a difference, correct?
Yeah. Usually all the premium beans start around above 3,000 feet. Our farm is 4,500. Yeah, it's a really beautiful place because it's really kept well by this family. So you could just go there and have lunch. And we have a gazebo there, and it's beautiful.
Wow. Now, one of the things I heard, because I literally like a week ago went to one of my favorite coffee shops around here in New Jersey, and they had like a little coffee kind of education class. It was just a basic class. And one of the things that they were saying was that the higher the elevation, their idea is that the higher elevation, the more nutrients get pushed towards the bean. That's why it's more complex and flavorful.
I think more than the elevation. I'm not a coffee expert, so
Okay.
This is my experience because I like to drink coffee as much as the next person. So I like drinking bad coffee and good coffee. That's how you tell the difference. But I think more than the elevation, it has to do with the actual humidity and the soil and everything. The elevation helps because it helps regulate the temperature a bit, and you'll get bigger breezes. But we have, since the Dominican Republic is basically plains all the way up to the mountains, we get all the ocean breeze from the south, and it provides good, healthy amount of nutrients without needing the 7,000 feet elevations that they have like in Guatemala and these places.
Oh, I see. Interesting. And what are the properties of the soil? Because you keep mentioning the soil.
It's this soil, this family that we partner up, they've been doing it their whole life, generations to generations. It's a small town in Dominican Republic called Jarabacoa, and when we get told about like organic and basically the nutrients in the soil, in third world countries, all the meat is grass-fed meat. All the soil is basically organic soil because the farmers don't have the money to put chemicals inside the plant.
Yeah.
Ours is probably, the soil is probably, I would say, a healthy soil, but they do put some preventive measures for insects and stuff like that.
And sometimes they use other insects to...
Yeah, bees. They use bees and wasps to keep other insects away.
Interesting.
And they have to there's a lot of goats that actually go up and they eat all the plants. Like goats, they're very destructive to farming. And so that's it's not an insect, but it has to be protected from that. So it's closed off.
Sure. Now at a coffee, what would you call it? A coffee farm?
Yeah, it's a coffee farm.
At a coffee farm, what other plants would you find there besides, because you said they need other trees to shade the coffee plants. What other plants will we find there? Avocado plants. And then there's a lot of flowers that the family grows just to keep it pretty. I'll actually provide you with some pictures, so maybe you could retweet or something, so you could see it. It's a beautiful entrance, but it's mostly avocado plants. Okay, which is like another thing that's like amazingly healthy for you.
Yeah, it's avocado. Here we get it all the time. You buy it off the street daily. That and coconuts.
Avocados are yummy.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever mix avocado and coffee?
No, but
Avo coffee.
I'll try it, and I'll call it the show the art coffee.
Avo coffee.
I'll make some. My wife is a really good cook.
Okay.
I'll tell her to come up with something, and I'm pretty sure she'll do something.
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Avo coffee.
Boom.
Healthy fats, right? What are in avocados that are good for you? I just eat them.
I think omegas. Yeah, I just eat them also. I think omegas. My business partner Frank, he's like the nutritional expert, so I'll have him get back to you on that. But yeah, I think the omegas and the fatty oils are the healthy ones.
And you can't eat the seed of an avocado, right?
No. I think it's actually
poisonous.
I think it's bad for you. I don't know which way, but I don't want to say it online. I'll get attacked by people.
I hear if you swallow the seed of an avocado will grow in your belly. That's what my mom told me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
So let's say I wanted to grow coffee in my basement next to all my plants. Can I just grab like the seed of a coffee plant, or how would that work?
No, I don't know if you know that the U.S., the only place that they grow coffee is Hawaii. And I had read that there's a guy in California that grows some in his backyard, but it's very difficult to grow because it grows just you could look online. There's a map that it shows where it grows from the equator, and it goes all around the globe. And so there's a certain area that it's limited to where coffee grows. And that's why the U.S. doesn't have the ideal conditions for coffee, except in Hawaii.
Okay.
I would say mainly in the U.S., but Hawaiian coffee is really good.
Interesting. Coffee from Hawaii is like some of the most expensive coffee. Blue Mountain coffee, right?
No, that's from Jamaica.
Oh,
That's Jamaica,
my bad. You're right.
Boom.
Kona coffee. There we go.
Kona.
Why is Jamaican coffee so expensive?
Yeah.
Those bastards.
They're roasting, their brew. They've just been doing it for a long time. So I think the technique they use to pick the beans is they pick, I've read that they pick it when it was blood red, and they pick it when it's like wine red. Like they pick it at 2 different times, the same tree. So you'll get the same bean. Like let's say I'd go to the tree and I pick it half the beans and I leave the other half to ripen, and then I'll pick those, and then you mix that, and apparently that's what you roast. We're getting there. We're getting there.
What is the difference between like green coffee bean? Is there any difference whenever you hear green coffee beans? Like I don't know what to think. Is that
green?
Like,
you'll just have to roast them yourself at home.
Is every coffee bean green when you peel it out of its exoskeleton or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, when you take it out of the cherry.
Yeah,
it's a cherry. Yeah, it's green, whitish green.
And then when you roast it, it turns brown or
mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then when you roast it, and you roast it at the correct temperature, it has like a little oily glow that actually looks really good, and it's a quality roast. You've seen it a million times.
Sure. Now, what is the difference between? I don't know if you guys have diners in Dominican Republic, but
no, we have similars. We have like street food. We don't have diners, but we have the equivalent, the third world equivalent. I would say.
Well, you guys probably have zero problems with good tasting coffee because you're in Dominican Republic. But in America, there's so many areas where stores or restaurants, like more cheap restaurants, will sell you kind of disgusting tasting coffee. But if you've never tried good coffee, that's good coffee.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Don't say that, man.
Yeah,
Don't
that disgusting coffee is actually, I believe in some diners, it's actually a different strain of bean that actually has more caffeine. Mm-hmm. That's why it tastes more acidic and worse.
Yeah,
and the roast is probably darker. And it's cheaper to find, and I think that's what they use. I'm not sure, but I think you're right, and I hear that part of that is it's their lower elevation beans, right? So it's more caffeinated, and the way it comes out grown in the lower elevations in the not so typical coffee climates, right? Plus it's not sorted as rigorous. Like when they pass it through the mechanical sieve, they'll probably, for the cheaper ones, they'll probably take the ones that are all different sizes, beans that have been like broken and stuff like that, and that's what they use for that type of coffee.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, and then it's just a lot of people say, "Oh, it's burnt tasting coffee." But it's not burnt tasting. That's just the bitterness of that coffee strain, right?
Yeah, it could be burnt. Oh, they could have burned it, but yeah, it's mostly the bitterness of that strain.
And is that Robusta coffee?
I think that's the name actually. Yeah.
I'm just trying to educate people so they could stay away from that kind of coffee. Because once you try good tasting coffee, it tastes more like a treat, a drink, as opposed to like something you're using as a enhancer, right?
Exactly. I was just gonna say that the benefits are the same, but it's just the taste and the brew method. I like the French press and cold brew because it has basically no acidity.
When you say acidity, you're talking about not flavor profile, but pH balance?
Yeah, like that. You'll see that like bitter aftertaste, or that taste that after you drink a glass of coffee, like it'll linger in your mouth. That's what I'm referring to.
Gotcha. Now, you said a glass of coffee. I don't think anybody in America drinks a glass of coffee.
It's because I have it as a pre-workout in the morning, and it's always cold brew, and I just drink a glass of coffee. But yeah, it's a cup of coffee.
True. Yeah, and cold brew is probably my favorite method to make coffee. Because it's like probably the easiest way, but also the flavor is a lot, I don't know, smoother. Plus, it's harder to mess it up when you're brewing hot coffee than it is brewing cold brew, in my opinion.
Yeah, and cold brew, I basically just brew a bunch of cold brew for my entire week, and I use it as a pre-workout, and I put it in a protein shake, and that's it. I put it in a protein shake for after my jiu-jitsu practice, so yeah.
My man. Now, one thing I heard was the reason why there's caffeine in the coffee is because the caffeine is like a natural repellent for certain insects, so that the plant could survive.
I read that also, but I haven't. That's a good fact that I might create a post for it on the website.
Yeah, there you go. And then share it, and I'll repost it for sure. Because that's a cool fact. Because everything has a purpose, right? And if that's the purpose of caffeine, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Getting back to your brand of coffee, what you guys do, what is your process like as far as, I mean, without giving away too much, you're infusing your coffee with certain nootropics. How does that process work? I don't understand that. Are you just throwing it in a bag and shaking it up, or?
No, it's a little bit more complex than that, but it's basically all our nootropics come from the U.S. We import in here, and when we roast the coffee and grind it, we basically have this huge food grade mixer, and it just mixes everything in. We have our ratios and blends, and we had to take specific nootropics that would actually work with the coffee, with the actual water that's in the coffee, but that's retained in the coffee, and it didn't affect the actual look of the final product, the taste, or the effects of the caffeine, which is basically the main nootropic.
Does it bind on a chemical level when you mix it, or is it just attaching? How is it being infused? I'm not quite getting that.
Well, when we put it in our mixer, it's, as you can see, if you open one of our bags and you pour it out, you will see that there's no residue in the bottom. There's no like nootropics. Like, let's say you put a bunch of sugar in there and you mix up the bag. When you pour out the coffee, you'll see the sugar in the bag.
Okay.
In like two different items. So our coffee, you can see that it covers the entire bean, and it happens right when we roast it and we put the nootropics in there. I don't know chemically what it does.
Yeah.
Because I'm a civil engineer, but yeah, that's really a good question.
Honestly, if you would have explained that on a chemical level, I probably wouldn't understand either. So I don't know why I even asked that question.
Good question, though.
Now, why don't you guys... So that's one of the reasons why you guys don't sell your coffee in actual whole beans without it ground, right? Because you wouldn't be able to mix it, right?
There's a way that you can infuse. We've been working since we launched our coffee with someone in the U.S. I don't want to give this away, that can actually do it. It's too expensive right now.
Okay.
And we don't know the full effect, so we've been going back and forth for like 2 years. Right now, it's too expensive, but it can be done. We don't know how it'll retain the flavor and everything, so that's probably a couple of years down the line. But yeah, it's something that can be done.
Yeah, because your coffee comes pre-ground. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does the nootropics do something to how do you control the freshness? Because, everybody always says you want to drink coffee as soon as you grind it. Do you guys have a special technique to preserve the freshness of your coffee?
There is one, which I can't say, but we actually, when we roast the coffee, we package it in an instant. You see it being roasted, mixed, and packaged that same within minutes. So our bags, as you can see, they have a one-way valve, and that, as the coffee naturally oxidizes, whether it's ground or whole bean, it'll have an oxidation process. So that one-way valve will actually keep the freshness there a little bit longer.
Gotcha. And as oxygen is introduced, it breaks down the chemical compounds, right? That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So your one-way valve is not introducing any new air to the mix.
No.
What are the benefits of nootropics, and what nootropics do you use? Because there's so many supplements out there. Some people say they don't work. Some people say they do work. I'm drinking coffee with nootropics. I don't know if I'm feeling caffeine effects or I'm feeling nootropic effects. What can we expect, and what can people? How can people gauge the effects of what they're drinking?
Okay, so we include alpha GPC, taurine, L-theanine, and DMAE. They're all naturally occurring nootropics that your body already has, and they're all vegan friendly. And what it does, I'll explain what I give the 30-second pitch is basically their brain vitamins. 2 of the nootropics have an immediate effect. They'll improve your mental focus. Alpha GPC has been shown in studies that after a week of taking them, they'll improve your power output, like your strength. L-theanine, for example, it'll actually make the buzz last a little longer, so you don't have that crash. So when you take our coffee, L-theanine is the nootropic that you're going to feel, besides caffeine, that you're going to feel the most, because it's going to give you a longer, mellower buzz, and then it'll drop off. And that's the response we get the most.
Okay. That's the most noticeable one.
Yeah. Like taurine helps metabolize fat. It reduces fatigue. DMAE promotes red blood cell function. Those are most, I would say, like long term. You're taking a vitamin. So if you're taking a vitamin to take care of your body, you might as well take care of your brain, because that's what you're left with at the end.
Yeah. And are you guys getting a lot of people like supporting you, saying, hey, this is, I've never felt these effects before from just a plain cup of coffee?
Yeah, tons of people. It's incredible the support we have from the fitness community and the grappling community. I personally answer every review on Amazon myself. Nice. I don't know, each time it's more reviews and more reviews, even the negative ones. We address the negative ones because each new batch, we take all the negative notes that we have and we see how do we improve them. There's always going to be some haters, which actually don't provide any. They just provide like a 1-star review with something, but most of them are positive. We have really good reviews on Amazon. Nice. And we like to address everybody. All the emails, we take everything into consideration. That's why we're grateful for our consumers. And that's something we like about working with the United States, because everyone's really honest and they appreciate when you get back to them and they appreciate when you address them.
Yeah, so true. What are some of the funniest hater comments that you've received?
I don't think there's any funny ones. There are some cruel ones. Most of them are actually like, the bag was open, I didn't receive this on time. People get really upset about that.
Oh, I see.
It's incredible. It's like, that's the thing that bugs them the most. Yeah. And a lot of the times it's like, it's the U.S. Post Office. What can I do? Sure. And yeah, we'll just offer them a refund, or if they have any concern with the coffee, then we'll give them their money back.
One thing I was going to say is, like, I feel a noticeable difference when I first tried your coffee. Like, it was like I felt like a little bit more alert, essentially. Mm-hmm. And that was a little noticeable. Partly, I think, because I work out all the time. I train all the time. I think I have a better sense of my body than most people do. If you do work out and you do train and you do things like jiu-jitsu, where your body awareness is very important and your coordination is very important. So I feel like I notice a difference. But I can imagine how a lot of people, or some people that drink your coffee, that are, let's just say, not aware of their body. They're not very physically active. Maybe they're not active at all. And since they're just not aware of their own body and how they truly can feel, and there's so many other negative things going on with their body, that it might overshadow the effects. And that's where people can say, oh, I took your coffee and it didn't do anything for me. Is that something that you come across?
Yeah, that's something we come across. And some people are just, if you've been taking a pre-workout your entire life, your body is kind of accustomed to that caffeine dump. And you might not feel it that much, but we get that. That with people that don't work out as much, they actually feel it a bit more. I get that concern with people that have taken pre-workouts and all that stuff all the time. They probably were expecting like an explode boost.
Like a big surge.
Yeah, like a big surge. But we just tell them to probably clean their system for 5 days. Even to our own users, if they say that they've been like, I don't feel the coffee that much, just like clean your system for 5 days and restart it, and it'll give your body enough time to flush out those nootropics.
I see.
Yeah, you should try it. If you've been drinking it for a while, just leave it off for 5 days.
And not drink it for 5 days?
Yeah, not drink it and then drink it again, and it'll be just like the first time.
Ah, okay, I'll try that. So kind of cycle it on and off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I drink it all the time, but just I see it as a multivitamin. That's how I see it.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think I go like a week, and then I go maybe a couple of days or another week without making your coffee, just because I like to mix it up. So I probably do get a regular break from your coffee for a couple of days. And plus, I get lazy sometimes of making coffee at home.
Yeah, you can get that. Also, I don't know. We got a jiu-jitsu competitor that emailed me, and he said that he had cycled the coffee into his training, I believe, a couple days before, and he was going to stop taking it. He had come up with this formula that was working for him. I'd love to share his name. I don't have it off the top of my head. to give him the credit. Yeah.
But what was he saying essentially? He was just going like 3 days on?
He basically included it into his diet. So he was taking it while he was training. Then he laid off it for 2 weeks before the competition. And then he had taken it, I think, 2.5 hours before the competition. He said it worked better for him.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So do you think that he was, or I don't know if you know, but was he drinking coffee in the meantime for those 2 weeks that he was off your brand of coffee?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I think he pointed out that he had gotten off all the coffee.
Okay. But what I was going to say is, would that make a difference if you're off your coffee, but you're drinking other coffees that have zero nootropics in it? Yeah,
it would, because you would be, at least you wouldn't be getting our nootropics, and your body would flush them out. And then when you take it, you'll feel the effects of the alpha GPT and L-theanine and the taurine right away.
Gotcha. What about people that already take nootropics?
I used to take nootropics. Yeah. I used to take nootropics. They can still take it. That's how we came up with the idea. I was taking nootropics and coffee, and I was like, I told Frank I was in a traffic jam listening to podcasts. I was listening actually to the Joe Rogan podcast, and you know how Joe Rogan's always like, do something different. You got to do. He's always pushing people to motivating people.
Yeah.
I'm like, Frank, like, we gotta get out of this 9 to 5. Let's put this. We drink coffee. Our country has amazing coffee, and let's put the nootropics. Like we were having a back and forth, like 30-minute conversation of like how to improve coffee, and it just came together. Like, let's add the nootropics we're already taking.
Ah, interesting. So now you don't need your supplemental nootropics because you're getting it through KIMERA coffee, essentially.
Yeah, I do it. I do it most because nootropics, they're really good, but they're expensive.
Yeah.
So this is a way to get people their nootropic dosage all in one set. Like, they don't have to be carrying around pills. They'll just like sit down in the morning. They'll take the nootropics. Mm-hmm. They don't even have to be a workout day or anything.
So should I stop taking my nootropics that I take?
I don't want to tell you to stop taking them, but whatever you feel.
Okay. No, but maybe I can experiment by stop taking what I take and then lay off your coffee for a few days and then reintroduce it and see what happens. See the big impact. If there is a bigger impact without my other nootropics that I'm taking, correct?
Yeah, correct. Nick the Tooth, actually, he stopped taking nootropics in pill form once he had the coffee. I think it's mostly for the comfort. He says it's easier just to brew coffee and forget about the nootropics.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Now, how did you get involved with the grappling community as far as promoting your brand? Okay, so I always tell people that grappling and jiu-jitsu and MMA got me to where I am. I've been practicing no-gi for probably 10 years, and that's why I like the UFC so much. Like, I don't want to get hit in the face, so I would never do that. Okay.
So
me either, honestly.
I appreciate all the grapplers. I appreciate the art, and through grappling, it got me to create this company. So that's one thing that I tell people, like, you don't have to be a black belt, a grappler to achieve whatever your life goal is. You can go ahead, you can use grappling as a foundation, because it's grappling for me has straightened out my life. It has put everything in focus. It helped me find my wife. So that's how I see it. I may not be a black belt, but I'm a black belt in the foundation of grappling and what it represents to improve yourself.
Interesting.
That's how I got. When I started this company, I wanted to support the community in one way or the other. And I just look at the exciting guys that I liked watching, which were Gary, then Eddie, and then Gordon. And that's how I came across. I just shot them an email.
Getting back to what grappling did for you, how did it do it for you? What about training made you put your life into a straighter line? Okay, so before I started grappling, I unfortunately found grappling at my late 20s. I'm always, you see when you see young kids, you're always like, oh man, this guy's so lucky. So I found out in my late 20s, and I was kind of like, I wasn't that happy with my job. I didn't like lifting weights. I found all that stuff boring. I did it. And when I found grappling, I found an outlet for all my stress, all my problems in my life I didn't think about. When you're grappling, it's like what Tyler Durden says in Fight Club. When you're in there, the volume turns down. And you can just be happy, be in that state of flow.
So after I released all the other problems in my life, I could focus on what really made me happy. I'm like, okay, when I'm stressed out before I go to grappling, when I'm out of grappling, now I can think clearer. And the community, it's a very tight knit community. So let's say I like Marcelo Garcia. I'm pretty sure I could email Marcelo Garcia and he'll probably respond after a couple emails. So it's not like other sports. Like if I like a NFL player, I'm not going to get in contact with him. Yeah. So that's something I like about the community.
Yeah, like you can't email LeBron James, first of all. And
No.
if you do happen to email LeBron James, the chances are he's not going to email you back.
Exactly.
Gotcha. And was it the monotony of training, not monotony, but the consistency of training and learning more about yourself through the ups and downs of being submitted and submitting people and being humble on the mats that helped you out in your life?
Yes, you said it, being humble on the mat. When you get choked out by someone that you thought you could beat, because you saw how he looked, how he walked. And I like about training that I train with people that work he's a rebar worker. The other guy cleans the floor of a diner, or what we call a diner here. Mm-hmm. And it's people from all walks of life. So you're forced to create friendships with people that you wouldn't necessarily be friends outside of jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And everybody there is equal. You go to the mat, you're equal with your professor. He always treats us with respect. You're equal with everybody. And that's what I liked about jiu-jitsu. And it gives you a confidence. Like, I've never been in a bar fight, and I don't plan to be in a bar fight. But I'm pretty sure that if I'm in a bar fight, like, I know what a hit will feel like. Yeah. I know what a choke out, what an arm break will feel. So you're not afraid of that anymore. So you can walk around the street confident.
Yeah, man. And I love what you said about that, how everyone's equal on the mat. You can be at a hospital where there's a doctor, a brain surgeon, and then the guy who comes in late at night, who cleans the floors, the janitor. And then later on that night, they're both training jiu-jitsu on the same mat. And that janitor could be a black belt, and that brain surgeon could be a blue belt, but they would treat each other equally. And going back to work, if that brain surgeon experienced that, he would probably treat more people with equal respect. As if I'm just assuming that maybe he never even thought about it or never gave people that weren't his peers respect. But there's a newfound respect from training with someone who, like you said, you wouldn't normally be in contact with, or you would normally look down upon because of something they do or their profession. When you share this experiences on the mat, it gives you a new sense of, I don't know how to describe it, a new sense of like humbleness about life, period.
Exactly. Yeah. It's exactly. I'm friends with people that I wouldn't have said hi on the street. And now when I say hi to them, I'm proud. I tell my girlfriend, oh, this is the guy that trains, or this is the guy he tapped me out, or this is the guy that I told you that I had a good role with. So yeah, that's cool.
And how long have you been training?
I've been training, I think almost 10 years here. Uh-huh. The only problem with training in the DR, it's limited. So I've had a lot of really, really good professors. Some of them have moved out of the country. Some of them have moved out of the city. So it's really hard to keep a constant teacher. At some points in my life, like for around like a year or 2 years, I just basically trained off YouTube videos with a group of people that I liked. Okay. Before I could find another school that I liked. So right now I'm training at Fight Training Academy with Omar Cruz. He fought in Bellator, and I tell him he needs to get out of this country and fight in those like no-gi tournaments, because this guy's a beast. He's a beast.
And you know what's cool too? Like, I could be training in the middle of nowhere with this black belt who no one knows, but I feel like that black belt could be just as good as the next black belt, Like you can easily be at a school in the middle of nowhere and be proud of your instructor, and they could have never competed in their life. But when you experience them on the mat and they're rolling with you and they slaughter you, you're like, man, this guy's as good as the next guy. Like in jiu-jitsu, we constantly test ourselves, with 100% resistance in the training room, that you can have full confidence in your instructor, as opposed to, maybe other sports where the practice room is different than the live, because you can't go 100% in most sports. But jiu-jitsu, it's a humbling experience to know that, hey, I train with my instructor. He trains every day. He spars with everybody, all the new people that come in, and he holds his own. He might not compete at every tournament, but I know he can. I know he's legit. I know he can hold his own. That I feel like that's a cool thing about jiu-jitsu schools.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's what I love, that everybody goes 100%. So you know what your body's capable of, and you learn so much about yourself, about your tolerance, about like I try to tap at the least possible moment, not when arm bars. I don't want to have my arm broken. Chokes and stuff like that, I usually wait till one eye starts to close before I tap.
But jiu-jitsu is fun, and I mean, jiu-jitsu is one of the things that brought us together. We're in different parts of the world, but it's amazing that one little sport can bring so many people together.
Exactly. That's what I tell people all the time. Tell people, just practice jiu-jitsu and you'll learn so much. You'll meet, like, I've never thought I was going to have a coffee company, talk to you guys, talk to Nick the Tooth, hang out with Juji Mufu, hang out with Jake Shields. Like, that for me, those are superstars. Like, I don't need to look at Brad Pitt or anything. Those for me are my superstars.
Gotcha. And how did you get hooked up with Jake Shields? How did that happen?
That's a funny story. The first time we met him, we were in San Francisco, and I've been a fan of Jake Shields for a long time, and his grappling and his American Jiu-Jitsu. So we were at a club in San Francisco, and I tell Frank, hey, there's Jake Shields. So we're like, Jake, come over here, come have a drink. And he wasn't having any drinks, but he said, I won't have a drink, but my girl will. So we hang out with him that entire night, and we had a good time. And the year afterwards, Frank went to Vegas. We always go to see the UFCs in Vegas. I couldn't go that year, so Frank goes to Vegas, and he meets up with Jake Shields. And they go out the entire weekend to all the pool parties and all the after parties.
Nice.
And after that, we just kept in contact with Jake. And when we started this coffee company, we thought about Jake. And we liked what he represents. We liked him as a friend. We liked him as a partner. So when we had this idea where we asked Jake to partner up with us, and he was all for it. He came down to the DR. We had an amazing time here. He grappled here. He actually taught a mini seminar in a little barrio, which I would have loved to have video footage of that. Mm-hmm. He was cool. It was this little barrio. It had kids 3 years old. It had women that were in their late 20s, just people who probably a lot of them hadn't seen an American or hadn't spoken to an American. So he taught him a couple moves there. He taught him his arm triangle, and it was really cool.
Nice. That's pretty awesome. And then from there, you guys kind of just he was a believer of your brand and kind of hooked up with you guys?
Exactly. From there, we've just kept in contact, and whenever we go to the States, whenever we're in the West Coast, we call him. We're constantly I probably talk to Jake a couple times a month. Frank talks to him almost every day. He's chatting with him. So
nice. Yeah, and he's such a great grappler. His jiu-jitsu is phenomenal, and he proves it time and time again. Especially recently, he's been taking on more super fights. He actually just competed this weekend, and he's just phenomenal, man. Like, he does things so he sticks to the basics, and he's so good at them, and he's such a crusher on the mats, man. Beast.
Yeah, he is. He has some incredible top pressure, which is until you feel it, it's pretty strong. I've never grappled one-on-one with him. I've drilled with him.
Okay.
And it's basically, I feel like I'm trying to survive. I told him once we were drilling leg locks, and I'm like, Jake, it's me, I'm your friend, because he goes into the zone. He goes into the zone.
Nice. So even when he drills, he's drilling like a savage.
Yeah. He's so good.
Nice. Good old Jake Shields. We got to get him on the podcast, man. That guy's so cool.
He'd love to be on the podcast. He loves about talking about his diet. It's really interesting.
Uh-huh.
He's a vegetarian, and the strength he has, I think it's due to the fact that he's been a vegetarian his entire life. Yeah. Do you remember his fight with AJ when they interviewed AJ after the fight? He's like, this guy's pretty strong for a vegan.
Yeah. That wasn't the only thing AJ was saying after that fight.
Yeah, exactly.
That was funny.
That was a fun fight.
Yeah. No, and AJ's a top-notch competitor. So the fact that Jake Shields, he really controlled the fight, and I would say he dominated him. Would you say that, Marcos?
Yep.
Yeah, is amazing because AJ competes way more often than at grappling events that Jake Shields does.
Yeah, and AJ's no joke, man. He's so good.
That's Jake Shields for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, let's go into some of your newer products. You have some new products coming out, right? We
have KIMERA Cacao Power Booster, which is a cinnamon raw cacao from Dominican Republic. And it has L-glutamine. You can put it in your shakes. You can put it in your hot cocoa. It's basically to take it anywhere. It'll help you with recovery. And we have some really interesting products that'll be coming out probably in the fall, which I think is going to blow up. I know we've talked about it in private. I'm not going to say it's here yet, but probably my business partner will come on to explain it when it's out.
Sweet. Awesome, man. Are your products like the cacao, is that on your website now? Or
you can get the coffee on Amazon, and you can get all our coffee and all the other products, the Juji Mufu blend, which is a dark roast, and the KIMERA Cacao, you can get it in our website. It's sold out right now, but we're actually producing it this weekend. So it's going to be probably in our web store in like 3 weeks.
Nice. Well, man, we are running out of time. We got to go, but we really appreciate you coming on the show and explaining more about KOFFEE to everybody. Do you have any parting words, anything else to say about KOFFEE, about your brand?
Well, I have a parting word. I hope I see you soon here.
Yes, sir.
And I hope I go up to visit you guys. And to everybody, I tell them, just follow your dreams and practice jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu might not get you a black belt in the art, but it'll get you a black belt in life.
Oos. All right, man. Thank you so much. Tell people how they could reach you and your brand and your company and maybe all the people that support you.
You can reach me at info@KIMERA Coffee, and my Instagram is Armenteros. You can follow KIMERA at KIMERA. Subscribe to our newsletter. We give away monthly coffees, T-shirts, and just basically gift bags for anybody that subscribes to our newsletter. So that's a good deal. And just follow us on social media.
That's it, man. Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for the support, man. I love Show the Art. I love your videos. They help me improve my jiu-jitsu and train.
Awesome.
So yours is the type of stuff that helped me during the 2 years where no one was guiding me.
Awesome, man. That's great to hear. I mean, that's part of why we do it, to help people, not to get likes, really. It's to help people. We want it to be a tool people can use to improve their game and be inspired as well.
And it works. Everybody at my academy uses it.
Awesome,
so it
man.
works.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man. When I come down, hopefully we can meet up, and I'll bring a bunch of patches. And if you guys want to wear them, you can, or you can throw them away, or you can use them as decorations.
No, we'll wear them. They always love patches, so we'll wear them.
Sweet, man.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, I'll talk to you soon, and have a great day, man.
You too. Take care, guys.
Take care.
If you guys enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, comment on our iTunes or Stitcher or any platform that you are on. It goes a really long way, guys. When you subscribe, it pushes us further along, and it allows us to continue to bring you these podcast episodes with our guests, and it really helps out a lot to subscribe. It makes it a lot easier. It automatically downloads the episodes on iTunes. It's just easier to get us on your phone or your computer. So please subscribe. That's one of the biggest things you can help us out with.